Hello and welcome back to the channel with me, the Orienteering Kid, where today we're still in Milan for day 3 of the TOREMooS Cup. Yes, it's the third day of the TOREMooS Cup, organised by Remo Modella. And if it's anything like the past 2 days, we're in for some intricate orienteering with some very fine detail needed in order to solve many of these tasks, which I do like. It gets me thinking and it's really good to do. So we will move into the TOREMooS section of the Tempo Simulator, the link to which can be found in the description, and we will move straight into day 3, where again we are on a 1 to 4,000 map with 3 stations and a 4-meter zero tolerance. Now, a slight change to the past 2 days, however. We have black circles on the map, but this time they're not play equipment, but they are fitness equipment. So I'm guessing like the sort of trails that you get around parks. And yeah, it should be pretty obvious to see, like the play equipment yesterday. Just got to remember that we're looking for something different today. Again, I forgot to mention this yesterday, but I'll be putting all my answers in the top right hand corner, and I'll be playing along live, so you get to see exactly what I'm doing and all the mistakes that I will inevitably make at some point. We saw a few yesterday. But yeah, without further ado, we will jump straight into day 3 of the TOREMooS Cup. And we are here, and we're going to jump straight into Station 1. It's got the trees and I'm guessing that's the gym equipment in the back, with between those trees it must be Foxtrot. No. Equipment Delta, between those 2 trees Charlie. Between those 2 trees is a 0, and between those trees Bravo. So 20 seconds. I did lose a small bit of time then. For some reason the Foxtrot button didn't want to press itself. It's a bit of a shame, but we move on from that. That's possibly going to cost me a second or 2. It was nice to see though. I did pick up on the fact that the arrows for the between trees were there in the control descriptions. So thank you to Remo for putting those in. I think that's definitely helped aid slightly. But I'm confident with all those answers, I think, at the moment. But they may change as we go into Station 2. There's 2 lines of trees on that side and some vegetation on the other. So that's the gym equipment. I'm going with that, so it's 2 back, so I think that's... Oh, line of trees there, definitely Delta. Final poke of the vegetation there's Bravo. That's too far back. There's nothing on the equipment. And Alpha. Oh, again slow there. I do seem to be slowing up a bit, to be honest, but I was trying to base the position of the trees by the play equipment at the top. Possibly should have done what I then ended up doing at the end and going for the second line of trees, which I did see stopped. But yeah, we move on. It's another slower station, but we go on to Station 3. Trees, they're all there, double side of that tree, so we get that bit, and that must be Alpha. Between those 2 trees there is Delta, out the back there is a 0, right side of tree would be Bravo, and then in that patch there Echo. It's a quicker station. Be checking on the 0 on 33 when we get to it. But Station 1, yeah, you can see I was trying to press Foxtrot, but in 8.9 seconds I had to press it a couple of times for some reason, but that is that. I think what gave it here, I was originally looking at these 3 trees and thinking those were the 3 in this bit here, but then I suddenly saw the path and went, no, it must be this tree as the tree at the top, and then these 2 trees as the 2 below, and we want the western due to this arrow in the middle of trees, and that is the one just here, which is the Foxtrot one. So yeah, that one's fine. Then we go across to the gym equipment or the fitness equipment up the top there, which I'm presuming that's what it is, and it looks in the right place, so it's probably that and it's delta. And then we come back to these trees and we've got a southeastern arrow here, and we want this bit here, so that again must be Charlie. I quite like the fact that Charlie, Echo and Foxtrot are on these three between trees here. It makes it very clear which one is which. Then we come across to the back here and we've got between two trees here, and at first glance you may think it's Alpha. However, this tree here is the first tree just after the path, so Alpha is between this one and the one just here on the edge of the circle. So Alpha will be basically on the edge of the circle here, and the location we want this control to be is probably out of sight behind this tree, where you can just see the other tree behind it there as well. So yeah, clear 0 there. And then finally we have between these two trees. Again, I possibly would have put a middle of between trees here just to make it slightly clearer. I know there were arrows in some of the others, but yeah, there's just a little thought for addition, and we can see that's clearly Bravo, as we've discovered that this tree is the tree here and we want it between that tree and the tree just behind it. So yeah, good station. I could have definitely been a bit quicker there, but that is the game, and we move on to probably what I would call the hardest station of this event. And we have two lines of trees, the path. We can actually see where we were for the previous station, not that I noticed that during the event. And we have two lines of trees and we want this between trees here. Now at first glance this looks almost impossible, as there are many rows of trees and we don't know which one is which. However, this line of trees here does seem to end, and so I'm pretty sure that that tree there is the one here, and we want the between two trees just to the left of it, so it must be delta because it's in this gap here. Again, I possibly would have wanted a western arrow just to indicate which between trees it is, but yeah, I think that's fine. And we move to this one and we want the corner of a bush, and now I'm pretty sure that this continuous bush is one thing. It's quite hard to tell and I'm probably very wrong. In fact, I'm looking at it now and I'm wondering, am I very wrong? Well, what is there to tell? It depends how far back this play equipment is, and I'm struggling to tell, to be honest. But now, looking at it, I'm wondering now if I've made an awful mistake, and I've done this before. Well, I've done everything one out of sync, and I seem to have, and I'm now thinking that 22 should be Charlie, because we have this bit of gym equipment here. There's probably a small bit of bush poking out here that we can't really see, which is this little nook here, and then Charlie is on this nook just here, and then there's a gap. That gap is much bigger than I had first appreciated, which takes us down to here, and we will see at 25 that that answer should probably be Bravo. But yeah, we move on. I've obviously got a couple wrong here. That is fine, that is what happens. But next two stations I'm pretty confident are zeros. We've obviously established the end of the second line here, so we are counting back trees. So this tree is the end. We then have this tree here, which we've used for task 21, is here. So Echo is between these two trees, which is these two trees here, and we want the next set of between trees, so that must be a 0 because it's here just to the edge of the photo. And then 24 has the play equipment there and there's very clearly nothing on it, so again that must be another 0. And then I have touched upon this just in 22. I reckon that is probably Bravo now, and I reckon Alpha is somewhere down here. No, scratch that, I'm talking complete rubbish, because I've just seen where this line of tree ends must be here. So where this line of tree ends must divide Alpha and Bravo. So actually I am right. 22 must be Bravo, as dividing Alpha and Bravo here, we must get Bravo just above the divide, and then Alpha just below the divide. So yeah, I don't know whether that's an issue with the distancing in the photo. It does look like there's a massive distance going between the two, but I'm now pretty confident that it is actually Bravo and Alpha, not Charlie and Bravo. But yeah, that was a good station. It's definitely the hardest of the three, but we will discuss station 3 now, and straight away coming into it. So it's obvious there's a fence, and then we've got these patches of trees across there, but it's identifying which one is which. Looking at it, we've got this line of woodland here, which I'm guessing is this bit here, and then we've got the 3 trees just behind it, which is quite hard to see, and then jump across the other side and we've got this bit of woodland here, and we want the western part of it, which must be where Alpha is. Then we go across the second one. I had to move my mouse slightly here because it was obscuring this tree a bit, but we have the line of 3 trees we've identified, and it is between the 2 trees at the back, so it must be Delta. Then we come across the side, and this is the 0 I was debating a bit, but I'm now more confident about it because I'm looking at Foxtrot, and Foxtrot is on this line of trees, which I believe is this line of trees here. So we actually want Foxtrot to not be on that tree, but I think it should be slightly further round. Maybe there's a bit of a shadow there, or possibly, but I think it's out of view. So yeah, I think that's another clear 0. And then 34. This type of problem is quite interesting to be thrown in because it forces you to identify the correct side of the feature that you want. And obviously with north going downwards here, just looking at the control description may make you think it's Charlie. However, if we actually take the southeastern side according to north, we want the left hand side of the photo, and so we want Bravo here. So yeah, a little bit of trickery potentially going on there, but it is a good problem, it's definitely fair. And then finally this patch of trees that we've identified here, and we want again the western part of it, so it must be Echo. So again, it's a very good day. All the tasks I believe were fair, but we will see how I did later. Just the last thing I think to do is to go through and have a look at what position I am. And I'm expecting again to be slightly lower because of the speed, but I don't think I've got anything wrong today, so we will see where I am. And I am in first. Wow, that is a surprise because again, was it 60 odd seconds I just took and I'm in first? Wow. Definitely station 2 could have slowed people down because it was really hard to identify exactly where the trees are. But yeah, that must be a sign that I've got them all right as well. But yeah, so we're here now and we will see what happens later. I reckon someone will definitely go above me, but I will be back at 11 o'clock my time for the results. And we are back and the results are out. And you may have noticed that I have dropped down to second. I'm not surprised by that. I'm actually more surprised that more people haven't gone above me. But it does seem like it was quite a hard day for many people. Well done to Marcelo for doing it very quickly though. The stations were very hard and it does seem like he's done them all in a reasonably quick time of the day, coming second, third and fifth across all the stations. But yeah, it was obviously station 2 that let me down a bit, but that was spending 13 seconds on the first task as we saw earlier. But all correct there. We'll just go back and check and see anything that I missed from the analysis. So yeah, just going through, don't think there was really anything wrong here, other than potentially would have, looking at it now, preferred a slightly straighter photo. The controls seem to be very wonky in the ground, almost as if they're leaning over some of these down the right hand side. I appreciate the left ones look okay, and it's possibly been aligned like that to get them. Although if this has been pulled straight out to Google Maps, I do remember looking at the area earlier and seeing that some of the shots were a bit wonky walking through, and it did feel a bit weird. So this may not be Remo's fault at all, it may just be Google Maps' fault. But that's fine. I don't think many of the tasks were really obscured by that, but I think I possibly could have gone slightly quicker here. And then station 2, yeah, again I should have spotted this line of trees stopped, because when I was trying to count back trees it was obviously a very slow process, but it does seem like all my thinking that it should have been Charlie and Bravo, not Bravo and Alpha, was completely wrong, and I was actually right from the start, which is good to find out that you have actually got it right in the competition. But yeah, all in all, a very good station. And then the final station, I think it is clear here, although with these bit of trees I would like to query specifically why these 3 trees at the front weren't mapped individually and were more mapped as runnable woodland, because to me, and I've had a bit of a discussion with a couple of others as well, but to me that's not really woodland, that is just 3 distinct trees. There may be some rules in mapping that I don't know, where there is a certain density of trees potentially, and that means that it should be mapped marked as runnable woodland instead of distinct trees, but that's just mine and a couple of other people take on it. But I don't particularly think it hindered the task, because obviously you've got 2 lines of this and the 3rd line back, but where else are you on the map? You have to be stood about here. So yeah, definitely enjoyed today. Day 3 was a good day, and the last thing to do is show the overall standings for these events. And it does seem like I have moved up into 1st place after having 2 second places across the 3 days. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video again. If you wouldn't mind liking it, subscribing and commenting any extra analysis you think I've missed from any part of today's videos, and I will see you again tomorrow for day 4 of the TOREMooS Cup.